There's no damage to the pelvis. I should look at its shape just in case. We can determine something from the shape of the pelvis. The skull has triangular orbital bones. Is there any information that can be deduced by the shape of the orbital bones? The cranial sutures have begun to fuse, but they aren't completely fused yet. This is what's causing the cranial sutures to resemble broken lines instead of solid ones. I recall that the cranial sutures can tell something about a body. That's right. A person's age at death can be determined from the state of the cranial sutures. The cranial sutures here have partially fused, indicating that this person's age was... Yes, the fusing is consistent with that of a person in their 50s. In other words, it means that this person was around 50 years old at the time of death. The German physician Blumenbach established a distinction of 5 major branches of human anatomy. One point mentioned in determining a person's race by skeletal features is the shape of the orbital bones. Comparing this with the materials at hand, this skeleton's race is... Indeed, this skull has the characteristics of a Caucasian. An individual's gender can be determined by the shape of the pelvis. According to the materials at hand, this skeleton's gender is... Yes. The pelvis is heart-shaped. Thus, we can deduce that this skeleton is male. "15 types of amino acids were detected in the skeleton. There was a very high concentration of nitrogen as well. If I compare this information with the materials available, that's right. We can assume that this person died somewhere around 2 years ago. Someone had this disease 2 years ago? Long before this pandemic began? This fact alone won't get us anywhere. But if I consider it in light of other information, a Caucasian male in his 50s who died 2 years ago and was familiar with viruses, all the information we need has been gathered. Now we'll be able to figure out whose remains these truly are. We couldn't identify this body after all. But there is an important fact that I understand now. First, let's sort out what we do know. We'll talk later. First is the time since death. The card with that is... Yes. The nitrogen and amino acids in the bones prove that. Remember, the body's soft tissue was gone before it was found. This suggests that the body wasn't underwater or buried. Next, I have the card stating the gender of the body. Correct. The shape of the pelvis, the face, and bones prove that. However, he had a thin build. He could hardly be muscular. Next, the age. This card tells our findings. Yes, the cranial sutures have fused with age. This proves that this person was at least in his 50s. It's possible to determine his race as well. This card shows my conclusion based on the evidence. Racial differences are mainly exhibited in skull shape. The eye sockets, cheekbones, nose ridge, it's clear. Our next clue is his occupation. Now, this is only speculation. But I believe this card shows what he did for a living. Yes, if the items belong to him, he was in medicine. In addition, it's likely that he worked in pathology. Now then, what was the cause of his untimely demise? This card shows that reason. A virus living within a corpse long after the host dies. I don't want to believe it, but bones don't lie. The virus passes into the mucous membranes on contact. He died like the man Gabe diagnosed, hemorrhagic fever. He understood what was happening. He knew why he died. He knew, and it shows in the last words he had to say.
My son, forgive me. I was enticed by the devil.
That is the truth, illuminated by the light of this life. With this in mind, I can use the data to find an individual. He's...
Hey! Hey, you listening? Where are you going?
Just be quiet and follow me. We need to talk to the chief. Chief, I'd like to speak with you.
What did you say?
It may be hard to believe, but listen to me, please. The bones Gabe came here with contained the infectious virus. But since the infection is not carried by air, the chances of these bones being a source of pandemic is low. However, they may still be a clue to finding a solution.
I can't believe the two of you could find out so much.
No, this is just a coincidence. Still, Dr. Tachibana should be done with a biopsy on the same virus.
Vector of infection's unknown, but we've ID'd it. You think we'll make it in time?
It's near hopeless. The disease advances too rapidly. The infected will all die before we finish the DNA analysis.
Damn it. Isn't there any other lead we can follow?
This isn't a clue, but I have one more thing I must report.
You must report?
I compared the reconstructed bones to our database. Only one person was a match for the data we had.
Who is it?
Him?
Yes, Albert Sard, a professor of virology, who vanished after the Cumberland College incident.